Luke adjusted the controls of his small cargo ship as it drifted through the empty black of space. The stars stretched out around him like scattered diamonds, silent and cold. He had been traveling for weeks, hauling supplies between minor colonies, trying to leave the past behind. But no matter how far he went, he could not escape the feeling that something was watching him. The radar blinked with a small, unusual signal. It was faint, irregular, and somewhere near the edge of the system. Luke frowned. Signals like this usually meant trouble. Maybe a damaged ship, or someone in need of help, or maybe a trap. He hesitated, his hand hovering over the throttle. Curiosity and duty gnawed at him. Finally, he decided to investigate. As he approached the source, he saw the wreckage. A ship, much smaller than his own, was floating in the asteroid belt. It was covered with scorch marks, some of the metal twisted as if by heat and pressure. The ship looked old, fragile, and almost abandoned. Luke slowed down and guided his ship closer, scanning for life signs. There was movement inside. 3 readings, faint but unmistakable. 1 adult, 1 child, and something else. Luke's heart skipped a beat. He did not know what the 3rd reading was, but it glowed faintly, like a tiny star trapped in the ship. He docked carefully, keeping the engines low so as not to cause more damage. The airlock hissed open, and he stepped inside with his hand on the blaster at his side. The interior of the alien ship was small, tight, and almost bare, but he could see signs of a struggle. Metal bent, panels torn, and something sticky on the floor. The adult was lying against a wall, weak but alive. Her skin had a pale bluish tint, her eyes larger than human eyes, and her hair shimmered slightly as if it caught the light differently. She looked at him with a mixture of fear and relief. "Please, help me," she whispered. Her voice was soft, musical, but Luke could understand her clearly. "Who are you?" Luke asked gently, keeping the blaster lowered. "My name is Ariel," she said, struggling to sit up. "And this is my child." She motioned to the small, glowing infant in a cradle-like container. The baby's light pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat visible from outside. Luke had never seen anything like it. Is it alive?" Luke asked, staring. "Yes. It must live," Ariel said, her voice urgent now. "If they get it, the prophecy will be fulfilled, and the galaxy will suffer." Luke froze. "Prophecy?" he asked slowly. He was no stranger to stories, myths, or superstitions, but he had never been in the middle of one. Ariel nodded weakly. "An ancient prophecy. It says that a child of my kind, or one raised among humans, will have the power to change everything. Some see it as salvation, others as destruction." She shivered and coughed. "They are coming. You must protect the baby." Luke's mind raced. Protect the baby? He was just a cargo pilot. He had no weapons except the small blaster at his side, no army, no fleet. And yet, here was a child whose very existence could change the future of countless civilizations. "We need to get out of here," he said finally. "Can you walk?" Ariel shook her head. "Not far. The ship, it's damaged. We cannot stay." Luke helped her to his ship, gently lifting the infant as well. The baby's soft glow bathed his hands in warm light. He felt a strange connection, as if the tiny being was aware of him, even trusting him. Back in the cockpit, Luke quickly ran diagnostics on his ship. The engines were stable, but he would need fuel soon. The radar, however, showed multiple incoming signals. Hunters. Not small scouts, but full ships, sleek and deadly. "They're here," Ariel whispered, her hand gripping the edge of the seat. "They want the child. They cannot be allowed to take it." Luke set the course for a nearby asteroid field. "We'll hide," he said. "It's the only chance we have." The ship shook as laser fire cut through the empty space behind them. Luke maneuvered sharply, weaving between rocks and debris. The alien ships pursued, faster and more precise than he had expected. But Luke knew the asteroid field better than anyone. He could use it to his advantage. As they navigated the twisting paths, Ariel leaned closer. "You must know. The baby is more than it seems. It can sense danger even before it happens." Luke glanced at the glowing infant, now cooing softly. The light from its body flickered in response to the shots flying past them. Somehow it felt like the baby understood the danger more than he did. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. It was hard to tell in the endless dark. Luke's hands ached from holding the controls, but he never lost focus. They dodged, spun, and hid behind massive asteroids, occasionally peeking out to see if the hunters had followed. "Do you always fly like this?" Ariel asked quietly, trying to distract him from the stress. Luke chuckled softly. "Only when someone is chasing me and wants to kill me." He glanced at her, trying to lighten the mood. "You're lucky I like a challenge." Ariel smiled faintly, but the tension returned quickly. "We cannot stop. They will never give up. The prophecy. Some believe the child must be given to the elders of my kind. Others will kill the child to prevent it from fulfilling anything. We are in the middle of a war we do not understand fully." Luke swallowed. "Then we run. That's what we do." They reached a quiet area deep in the asteroid belt. Luke shut down the engines and let the ship drift. The hunters' sensors would have difficulty finding them here. Ariel relaxed slightly, letting herself breathe for the first time in hours. The baby stirred in her arms, light pulsing gently. Luke watched, fascinated. "How old is it?" he asked. "Only a few days," Ariel said. "But it has abilities. I can feel them. It can sense threats, and sometimes it moves things without touching them." Luke raised an eyebrow. "Moves things? Like telekinesis?" Ariel nodded. "Yes, but it is not conscious yet. It learns from us. Whoever protects it shapes what it becomes." Luke felt a weight on his shoulders. He had no idea how he had ended up here. He was a human, alone in space, with a baby who might hold the power to save or destroy entire civilizations, and he was supposed to protect it. As night passed in the asteroid belt, Luke and Ariel talked quietly, sharing stories about their lives. Ariel told him about her homeworld, a planet rich with color and life, now torn by factions who disagreed on the prophecy. Luke spoke about Earth, the colonies, and his life as a cargo pilot. A life he had once thought simple. By dawn, Luke had made a decision. He could not hand the baby over. He could not abandon it to a fate he did not understand. He would protect it, no matter the cost. He adjusted the ship's course, aiming for the outer rim of the system. It would be dangerous, but the baby needed space, time, and secrecy. And he had something the hunters did not: human ingenuity, courage, and the will to survive. As the ship drifted out of the asteroid field, Luke looked at the baby's glowing face. It cooed softly and reached out with tiny fingers. In that moment, Luke felt something shift inside him. This was no longer just about a job or a random encounter. It was about life, hope, and the future of countless beings he would never meet. Somewhere far away in the dark reaches of space, hunters were plotting. But here, in this small ship, Luke, Ariel, and the baby were together, ready to face whatever came next. And for the first time in weeks, Luke allowed himself a spark of hope. The stars stretched on endlessly before them, and he knew this was only the beginning of a journey that could change everything. Luke piloted the ship through the empty stretches of space. The stars passed by like tiny sparks, and the baby lay in Ariel's arms, glowing softly. Luke kept checking the sensors, but there were no signs of the hunters yet. For a few moments, the silence made him feel safe, almost peaceful. Luke, Ariel said quietly, looking at the baby. We need to talk about what is happening. You must understand what this child is and why it is so important. Luke nodded. I want to understand. I don't know much about prophecies or alien politics, but I know I cannot let anyone harm the baby. Ariel took a deep breath. My people believe in an ancient prophecy. It says that a child like this can either bring great hope or great destruction. The elders say that if the child grows under their guidance, it will bring peace. But there are others who fear it, who want to kill it, so the prophecy is never fulfilled. That is why we are being hunted. Luke frowned. So this is more than just a baby. It's a weapon or a key to something? Ariel shook her head. Not a weapon. It is a being of potential. It can choose, but it needs guidance. Whoever raises it shapes its future. That is why it must be protected. Luke looked at the glowing baby again. The tiny being cooed, stretching its little arms as if it could feel his gaze. Luke felt a strange connection. Like the baby trusted him already. It was a feeling he could not explain. Do you know what it can do? Luke asked, cautiously. Not fully, Ariel said. It can sense danger. It can influence machines sometimes, but it is very young. Its power grows as it grows. That is why it is so important we keep it safe. We cannot let anyone harm it. Luke's mind raced. He had faced dangerous situations before, but this was different. This was not just about survival. It was about protecting something that could change the universe. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, and yet he felt a strange sense of purpose. As they traveled, Ariel began to explain more about her home world. Our planet was once peaceful. We lived in harmony with technology and nature. But the prophecy divided us. Some believe in guiding the child. Some believe in destroying it. My people are torn, and that is why they fight among themselves. Luke listened carefully, trying to imagine a world so full of conflict over one child. It sounds dangerous. Why me? Why not someone of your own kind? Ariel looked at him, her eyes serious. Because humans have something my people do not fully understand. You think differently. You act differently. You value life in ways we sometimes forget. That is why this child may thrive with you protecting it. Luke swallowed hard. He had never considered himself a hero, never imagined he would be responsible for the fate of a child that could shape the galaxy. And yet, here he was, holding steady in the pilot's seat while Ariel kept watch over the baby. Hours passed. Luke tried to rest, but the tension never left him. Every time he closed his eyes, he imagined the hunters finding them, the baby in danger. Ariel noticed his unease. You cannot carry this weight alone, she said softly. You must trust me. Together we can keep it safe. Luke nodded. I will try. I have no choice anyway. They stopped briefly near a small moon to gather supplies. The surface was rocky, barren, but it had some fuel and emergency rations hidden in abandoned mining facilities. Luke landed the ship carefully, keeping the engines low so they would not be detected. Ariel held the baby close as they stepped out. The wind on the moon was thin but sharp, cutting at their faces. Luke scanned the horizon. We should move quickly, he said. We cannot stay long. They collected fuel and rations, keeping a low profile. Ariel noticed Luke's careful attention to detail. You are very cautious, she said. I have to be, Luke replied. If they find us here, we won't stand a chance. As they returned to the ship, Ariel explained more about the baby. It is not just a child. It is the beginning of a new path. Whoever guides it will influence generations. That is why the hunters are so determined. They fear what it represents. Luke nodded, gripping the container where the baby rested. Then we have to be smarter than them. Faster, quieter. We cannot let them catch us. Once back in space, they continued their journey toward a neutral system, one far from the conflicts of Ariel's home world. Luke adjusted the course carefully, taking routes through asteroid fields and empty space lanes to avoid detection. During the quiet moments, Ariel began to teach Luke some basics about her species' technology. "The baby responds to energy fields," she said. "It can influence small devices when it feels threatened. It is instinctive, not conscious, but it learns quickly." Luke listened, fascinated. "So it can protect itself?" "In small ways," Ariel said. "It cannot fight, but it can alert us, guide us, sometimes even influence machines to help us. That is why it is dangerous for anyone to capture it. The baby is alive, aware, but innocent." Luke felt a mix of fear and wonder. He had never seen anything like this before. A being so small could hold so much potential, and he had to protect it. Days passed. They traveled through quiet sectors, avoiding trade routes and patrols. The baby grew slightly, its glow steady and comforting. Ariel watched it closely, speaking softly, telling it stories in her language, which Luke could not understand fully. Luke found himself learning too, watching the way Ariel cared for the baby, how she spoke to it, how she read its movements. He realized that protecting this child was more than keeping it safe from hunters. It was about nurturing it, guiding it, teaching it to survive in a galaxy that could be cruel. One evening, as Luke piloted the ship through a dense asteroid field, alarms went off suddenly. He glanced at the sensors. Multiple ships were approaching fast, too fast for him to outrun easily. "They found us," he said, tension tightening his chest. Ariel held the baby close. "Stay calm. Trust your instincts." Luke's hands flew over the controls. He swerved and ducked through the asteroids, using the terrain as cover. The hunters fired, but Luke's knowledge of the field gave him an advantage. He darted through narrow gaps, weaving in ways the alien ships could not easily follow. The baby stirred, glowing brighter. Luke felt a warmth in his chest, a strange reassurance. It was as if the child was helping him, guiding him through danger without words. After hours of tense maneuvers, Luke finally lost the pursuers. They were battered but still in one piece. He let out a breath he had been holding for hours. Ariel gently laid the baby down and smiled at him. "You see," she said softly, "it protects itself in ways we cannot always understand." Luke nodded, exhaustion pulling at him. He realized that this child was not just vulnerable, it was powerful in ways beyond imagination, and he was beginning to understand why Ariel believed in human guidance. As they drifted in the quiet of space, Luke finally allowed himself to relax, at least a little. The journey ahead was uncertain, dangerous, and filled with challenges. But for the first time, he felt hope. They were together, the three of them, bound by trust and a shared mission. He looked at the baby again, its soft light filling the cockpit. Luke felt a surge of determination. He would protect this child no matter what. He would use every skill, every bit of courage, every ounce of human ingenuity to keep it safe. Ariel watched him, reading the change in his eyes. "You are ready," she said softly. "Ready to face what is coming." Luke nodded silently. He did not feel ready, not fully, but he had no choice. They were already in the middle of a war neither of them fully understood, and the child's future, and perhaps the fate of countless worlds, rested in their hands. The stars stretched endlessly outside, indifferent to their struggle. But Luke felt something new: purpose. For the first time in a long time, he knew exactly why he had to keep moving forward, why he had to fight, why he could not give up. And as the ship sailed deeper into the unknown, the baby glowed softly in Ariel's arms, as if acknowledging his resolve. Luke felt a quiet bond form, unspoken but unbreakable. The galaxy was vast, dangerous and uncertain. But together, they would face it. The ship drifted through a quiet sector of space, the stars like pinpricks of light against the endless darkness. Luke kept his hands on the controls, his eyes scanning every reading. Ariel held the baby close, humming softly. The glow of the infant filled the cockpit, a small beacon of hope in the vast emptiness. Luke leaned back slightly, tired but alert. "I thought we lost them," he said, his voice low. "But I think they will not give up. They are too determined." Ariel nodded. "They will keep coming. They know what the child represents. Some of them are afraid. Some of them are greedy. But they all want it." Luke swallowed. "Then we have to be smarter than them. Faster, stronger, quieter. We cannot let them catch us." Ariel's eyes were serious. "It will not be easy. They have more resources, more ships, and they will try to overwhelm us. But the child will help us, in ways we cannot always predict." Luke glanced at the glowing baby. The light pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. It stirred in Ariel's arms and cooed, reaching tiny hands toward the controls. Luke felt a shiver run through him. Somehow the baby was aware of everything, sensing danger even when their eyes could not. The first attack came without warning. A sudden burst of energy on the sensors, a sharp beep that made Luke's heart jump. He looked up and saw two sleek alien ships closing fast, weapons glowing red. "They found us," Luke said, his voice tight. "Hold on. We will need to move fast." Ariel held the baby tightly. "Be careful," she warned. "The child senses them. It feels their intent." Luke swerved the ship sharply, weaving between asteroids, using the terrain as cover. The alien ships fired, beams of energy slicing through the darkness. Luke ducked and twisted, narrowly avoiding them. The baby glowed brighter, its light flickering with each near hit. Luke realized the baby was reacting to the danger. It was small but somehow aware, guiding him instinctively. He had never seen anything like it. "You're amazing," he whispered to the child, his hands steady on the controls despite the chaos. The hunters pursued relentlessly, faster and smarter than Luke expected. They used coordinated attacks, trying to force him into a trap. Luke knew he could not outrun them forever. He needed a plan. "Listen to me," Ariel said, her voice calm despite the chaos. "We can use the asteroid field ahead. It is narrow, dangerous, but it will slow them down. Trust me." Luke nodded. "I trust you. Let's do it." He steered the ship toward the tight field of jagged rocks. The asteroids loomed larger as they approached. Luke's hands moved quickly over the controls, weaving and twisting to avoid collisions. The alien ships followed, firing wildly, but their size and speed made it difficult to maneuver through the field. "Keep going," Ariel urged. "Do not stop. The child is guiding us." The baby stirred, glowing brighter with each movement. Luke felt a strange confidence. Somehow, with the child's presence, he could anticipate danger better. He swerved the ship through a narrow pass, just as a laser beam narrowly missed the hull. Hours passed in tense silence, punctuated by the sound of weapons and alarms. Luke's muscles ached, his mind was tired, but he refused to give up. Ariel watched him carefully, noting his focus, his determination. Finally, they emerged from the asteroid field, battered but still intact. The alien ships had slowed, some retreating, regrouping. Luke let out a breath he had been holding for hours. "We made it," he said, voice tight with relief. "But they will not give up. They never do." Ariel held the baby close. "No, they will not. But we are learning, adapting. The child is helping us. It is aware, and it is growing." Luke glanced at the glowing infant, feeling a mix of awe and responsibility. He had never imagined he would be protecting something so important, so powerful. And yet, he could not imagine leaving it behind. As they continued through space, Ariel began to teach Luke more about the baby's abilities. It can sense danger, influence machines, and sometimes even communicate in ways we do not fully understand. But it is young, very young. It needs care, guidance, and protection. Luke listened carefully, absorbing every word. Then we have to make sure it is safe, no matter what. Ariel nodded. Yes, and you are learning quickly. You think like a human, but you are also beginning to understand how to work with the child. That is rare. Luke smiled faintly, exhaustion showing on his face. I do what I must. I cannot fail it. They stopped briefly at a small, neutral station to gather supplies. The station was quiet, a place where traders and travelers passed through, rarely staying long. Luke docked carefully, keeping the ship's engines low. Ariel held the baby as they stepped out, moving cautiously through the station. We must be careful, Ariel whispered. Hunters can be here anywhere. We cannot trust anyone completely. Luke nodded. I know, but we need supplies, fuel, and information. We cannot stay hidden forever. They moved quickly, gathering what they needed, keeping a low profile. Luke noticed the way Ariel watched the baby, her hands protective, gentle. She was teaching him how to care for it, how to read its reactions, how to anticipate its needs. As they returned to the ship, Luke felt a new sense of responsibility. He was not just a pilot now. He was a protector, a guardian of something beyond his understanding, and he would not fail. Back in space, they continued their journey, avoiding known patrol routes and staying in quiet sectors. Luke adjusted the ship's path carefully, keeping them hidden, while Ariel watched the baby closely. Suddenly, the sensors blared again. A larger fleet of alien ships appeared on the screen, moving fast, cutting off their escape route. Luke's heart pounded. This is worse than before, he said. We cannot outrun them. We need a plan. Ariel held the baby tighter. We must fight smart. The child will help, but we must act quickly. Follow my guidance. Luke nodded, focusing on the controls. The fleet moved closer, their weapons ready. Luke knew they could not survive a direct confrontation. He had to use strategy, cunning, and the terrain of space itself to survive. He steered the ship toward a cluster of small planets and moons, hoping to use them as cover. The alien ships followed, but Luke anticipated their movements, dodging and weaving through narrow passages. The baby stirred, glowing brighter, and Luke felt a strange reassurance. Somehow, the child was aware, helping him sense danger before it happened. Hours of tense maneuvering passed. Luke used every skill he had, every trick he knew, to stay ahead of the fleet. Ariel guided him, pointing out weak points, ways to confuse the hunters, and safe paths through asteroid belts and debris fields. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they lost the pursuers temporarily. Luke let out a long breath. We made it, for now, he said, voice tight with relief. Ariel smiled faintly, holding the baby close. Yes, but they will return. They always do. We must continue to prepare. Luke nodded, looking at the glowing child. I understand, and I will protect it, no matter what. As they drifted through the quiet of space, Luke felt a new determination. They had survived the first major attack, but he knew the real challenges were ahead. The hunters would not give up, and the child's destiny was still unknown. But for now, they were alive, together, and moving forward. And Luke knew that as long as he had Ariel's guidance, the child's trust, and his own human courage, they had a chance. The stars stretched endlessly outside the cockpit window, cold and silent, yet full of possibility. Luke felt a quiet bond with the child, a responsibility he could not ignore. The journey ahead would be long, dangerous, and uncertain, but he was ready to face it, with Ariel and the baby by his side. Somewhere far away, the hunters were regrouping, planning their next move. But Luke did not fear them. He had learned, adapted, and survived. And with the child's guidance, he knew they could face whatever came next. The galaxy was vast, dark, and full of threats, but Luke had discovered something stronger than fear: hope. And that hope was glowing softly in Ariel's arms, a small light in the endless black of space. They would continue together through dangers unknown, ready to face the future and protect the child at all costs. And somewhere deep in his heart, Luke knew this was only the beginning of a story that could change the galaxy forever. Luke sat in the cockpit, staring at the stars. The ship drifted silently through empty space, but he felt no peace. Every sensor reading made him tense. Every distant signal could be hunters. Ariel sat beside him, holding the baby close. The soft glow of the child filled the small cabin, calming and strange at the same time. "We cannot stay hidden forever," Ariel said quietly. "The prophecy. It will find us, even if we do not want it to." Luke looked at her. "I do not understand everything about this prophecy. I do not know why it matters so much. But I do know this. We cannot let anyone take the baby. I will not let that happen." Ariel nodded. "The prophecy says the child can bring peace or destruction. It depends on who raises it, guides it, and protects it. Some believe the child must be given to the elders of my people. Others will kill it to prevent it from ever fulfilling anything. That is why we are hunted, Luke. That is why it is dangerous." Luke felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. He was just a human, a simple cargo pilot. But now he carried the future of the galaxy in his hands, or at least he carried the one being who could shape it. "We cannot run forever," Luke said. "We have to decide. Do we give it to the elders, or do we keep it safe ourselves?" Ariel's eyes darkened. "If we give it to them, perhaps it will bring peace. Perhaps not. If we keep it, the hunters will not stop. We must fight, and the child must survive whatever happens." Luke swallowed hard. The choice was impossible. He had no experience with prophecy, no knowledge of alien politics, and yet he was expected to make a decision that could shape the future. But when he looked at the baby's glowing face, he knew there was only one choice he could make. "I will protect it," he said firmly. "No matter what. I do not know the prophecy. I do not know the risks. But I will not let it fall into anyone's hands." Ariel placed her hand on his arm. "Then we must prepare. The hunters are returning, stronger than before. They will not stop until they have the child. We must make a plan, strategy, traps, intelligence. We cannot fight them with strength alone." Luke nodded. "Then we use everything we have. We use the ship, the terrain, your knowledge, and the child's abilities. Somehow it can help us. We just have to understand it." They spent hours preparing. Luke studied the ship's systems. Ariel explained more about her technology, and the baby slept, its soft glow lighting the small cabin. Luke realized how much the baby had changed him already. He had become cautious, thoughtful, protective, and patient in ways he had never been before. Finally, Ariel spoke. "The hunters will come tonight. We must be ready, and we must make a choice if they corner us. Do we fight? Do we hide? Do we escape? We cannot rely on luck." Luke's hands tightened around the controls. "Then we fight smart. And if we have to make a choice, I will do what is right, for the child." Night came in the vastness of space. The stars glowed coldly, and the ship drifted silently. Luke felt the tension build. The baby stirred in Ariel's arms, its glow flickering as if sensing danger. Suddenly, alarms blared. Sensors detected multiple ships approaching, faster and more aggressive than before. Luke's heart pounded. "They're here," he said. "Get ready. We cannot run. We have to fight smart." Ariel nodded, holding the baby tightly. "Listen to me," she said. The child will help us. It can sense danger. It can influence systems. Trust it. Trust yourself." Luke nodded. The first wave of enemy fire hit, energy beams slicing through space. Luke swerved, ducking behind asteroids, weaving through debris. The baby glowed brighter with each near hit, and Luke felt a strange reassurance. Somehow the child was aware, guiding him, helping him anticipate attacks. The hunters were clever, coordinating their attacks, trying to trap them in a narrow corridor of asteroids. Luke knew they could not survive a direct fight. He needed strategy. He needed patience. He needed to outthink them. "Follow me," Ariel said. "We will use the asteroid field ahead. It is narrow, but it will slow them down, and the child will help us navigate safely." Luke steered the ship through the jagged field, narrowly avoiding collisions. Lasers from the hunters sliced past, sometimes too close for comfort. But the baby's glow seemed to react to danger, pulsing in rhythm with the attacks, as if warning them. Luke realized the child was more than a passive being. It was actively helping, instinctively guiding them. Hours of tense maneuvers passed. Luke's muscles ached. His mind was exhausted, but he refused to give up. Ariel guided him, pointing out weak spots, safe paths, and traps they could use. The hunters were persistent, but Luke's knowledge of the ship and the terrain gave them an edge. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they lost the pursuers temporarily. Luke exhaled, letting himself relax slightly. Ariel held the baby, smiling faintly. "You see," she said, "the child protects itself in ways we cannot always understand." Luke nodded, looking at the glowing infant. "I understand, and I will protect it, no matter what." They drifted through space in silence for a while. Luke tried to rest, but sleep did not come easily. He kept thinking about the prophecy, the hunters, and the choices ahead. Ariel sat nearby, watching the baby, her face calm but serious. "You must decide," she said finally. "If they catch us, if they corner us, you must choose. The prophecy will not wait for us to be ready." Luke thought about it long and hard. He thought about the child, about Ariel, about the galaxy. He thought about what he could do, what he should do, and what he must do. Finally, he spoke. "We fight, we survive, and if we are forced to choose, I will not give the child to anyone who wants to harm it. I will protect it, even if it means risking everything." Ariel nodded. "Then you are ready, ready to face what is coming. The hunters will return stronger than ever, but we will survive. And the child will survive." The next day, they approached a remote planet, small and uninhabited. Luke planned to use it as a temporary base, a place to rest and prepare. They landed carefully, the ship touching down gently on the rocky surface. Ariel held the baby close as they stepped out, moving cautiously through the barren terrain. "This will be safe for now," Ariel said. "We can repair the ship, rest, and plan our next move, but we cannot stay long. They will find us." Luke nodded. "Then we prepare. We fight smart. We survive." Over the next few days, they worked tirelessly. Luke repaired the ship, improved the defenses, and set traps around the landing site. Ariel taught him more about alien technology and how to combine it with human ingenuity. The baby grew slightly, its glow steady and comforting. Luke watched the child often, studying its movements, learning its reactions. He realized that protecting this child was more than survival. It was about guidance, care, and understanding. He had to think, plan, and act not just for himself, but for the child's future. One evening, as they rested, Ariel spoke quietly. "The prophecy is coming closer to fulfillment. Time is short. The hunters will not wait. And we must make choices that will define the child's life and the galaxy's future." Luke looked at the glowing infant, feeling a surge of determination. Then we do what is right. We protect it. We survive. And we teach it to grow strong, safe, and free. Ariel smiled faintly. You are ready, Luke. Ready to face what is coming. Night fell over the small planet. Luke and Ariel kept watch, the baby resting between them, its soft glow filling the cabin. Luke felt a quiet bond forming, unspoken but unbreakable. He was no longer just a pilot. He was a protector, a guardian, a guide. And he would not fail. Somewhere in space, the hunters were regrouping, planning their next attack, but Luke did not fear them. He had learned, adapted, and survived. And with the child's guidance, he knew they could face whatever came next. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and uncertain. But Luke had discovered something stronger than fear, hope. And that hope was glowing softly in Ariel's arms, a small light in the endless black of space. They would continue, together, through dangers unknown, ready to face the future and protect the child at all costs. And somewhere deep in his heart, Luke knew this was only the beginning of a story that could change the galaxy forever. Luke sat in the cockpit, staring at the stars. He had not slept well for days. Every movement, every beep on the sensors made him tense. Ariel sat beside him, the baby cradled carefully in her arms. The soft glow of the infant filled the cabin, a warm light against the cold darkness outside. "They are close," Ariel whispered. "The hunters will find us soon. We cannot hide forever." Luke's hands tightened on the controls. "Then we face them," he said firmly. "We fight, and we protect the child no matter what." Ariel nodded. "Yes, the prophecy. It is coming to a turning point. Whoever controls the child now can change the fate of many worlds. We must survive this." Luke glanced at the glowing baby. Its tiny hands moved slightly, reaching for him. He felt a surge of determination. "Then we fight," he repeated. "We survive, and we protect it, no matter the cost." The sensors beeped loudly. A fleet of alien ships appeared, moving fast and in formation. Luke's heart pounded. They were stronger than ever, more numerous, and better coordinated. The hunters had learned from their previous encounters. "They mean to overwhelm us," Ariel said. "We cannot fight them head-on. We must be smart. We must use the terrain, the ship's weaknesses, and the child's instincts." Luke nodded, taking a deep breath. "Then we do it. Let's go." He steered the ship toward a nearby cluster of asteroids. The jagged rocks created a natural maze, narrow paths, and deadly traps. The alien ships followed, firing energy beams and missiles, but the terrain slowed them. Luke's hands moved quickly over the controls, dodging, weaving, twisting, and using every bit of skill he had learned in the past days. The baby stirred, glowing brighter with every near hit. Luke felt a strange reassurance. Somehow, the child sensed danger before it arrived, guiding him. He realized the infant was more than a symbol. It was an active participant in their survival. Hours passed, each moment tense and exhausting. The hunters tried to flank them, to box them in, but Luke anticipated their moves. Ariel guided him, whispering suggestions about weak spots and traps. The baby cooed softly, its light pulsing with every danger they narrowly avoided. Finally, Luke saw an opportunity. A narrow pass between two massive asteroids. It was risky, almost impossible to navigate, but if he could make it, the alien ships would be trapped behind him. "We can do this," he said, voice low but steady. "Hold on." Ariel tightened her hold on the baby. "I trust you." Luke pushed the ship forward, weaving through the pass. The walls of rock were close, too close, and a single mistake could destroy them all. The alien ships followed, shooting beams that grazed the hull. Sparks flew inside the cabin. Luke's muscles ached from holding the controls steady. The baby stirred again, glowing brightly. almost as if urging him forward. Luke felt a surge of courage. He had to make it. For the child, for Ariel, for everyone who depended on them. With a final sharp turn, they cleared the pass. The alien ships, too large and less agile, collided with asteroids, their formations breaking. Some ships were destroyed, others forced to retreat. Luke let out a long breath. For the first time in hours, he felt relief. "They won't stop," Ariel said quietly. "But we have an advantage now. We have proven we can survive them." Luke nodded, looking at the glowing infant. "And we will continue, no matter what." The next challenge came quickly. A massive alien warlord, Kale, appeared. His ship was enormous, bristling with weapons, and it moved with deadly precision. Luke realized this was the leader of the hunters, the one who wanted the child the most. Kale's voice came over the comms, deep and cold. "Surrender the child, human. You cannot protect it forever. Hand it over, and your life will be spared." Luke clenched his jaw. "We will never give it to you." Ariel held the baby tightly. "Do not underestimate him, Luke. The child is aware. It can help us." Luke nodded. He felt the glow of the infant, steady and strong. Somehow, the child gave him courage, focus, and clarity. He understood the dangers ahead, the movements of the enemy, and the timing of attacks before they happened. The battle began. Kale's massive ship fired beams and missiles. Luke dodged, weaving through the asteroid field, using every trick he knew. Ariel guided him, giving suggestions on weak points in Kale's ship. The baby stirred, glowing brighter, pulsing in rhythm with the attacks, almost as if lending them energy. Hours of tense combat passed. Luke's skills, Ariel's knowledge, and the baby's instincts combined to create a strategy that worked. They used the asteroid field to confuse Kale, setting traps, leading the massive ship into collisions, and disabling weapons systems. Finally, Luke saw the opening. Kale's ship had slowed, damaged by collisions and his own miscalculations. Luke steered carefully, lined up the final shot, and fired. The energy beams hit the critical systems. Kale's ship shuddered, sparks flying, and finally, it drifted, powerless, unable to continue the attack. Luke exhaled, exhaustion weighing on him. "It's over, for now," he said. Ariel held the baby close, smiling faintly. "We did it. The child is safe." Luke looked at the glowing infant, feeling a deep connection. "You did it too," he whispered. "You helped us survive. I will protect you, always." The baby cooed softly, stretching tiny hands toward him. Luke felt warmth and hope. Somehow they had survived against impossible odds, guided by courage, skill, and the mysterious instincts of the child. Days passed after the battle. Luke and Ariel repaired the ship, plotted a course to a distant, safe system, and rested when they could. The baby grew slightly, its glow steady, a constant reminder of the responsibility and hope they carried. Ariel spoke one evening as they drifted through quiet space. "The prophecy is not finished, but we have proven that human courage and guidance matter. The child has survived, and that means there is hope for peace." Luke nodded. "I never imagined protecting a child could change the galaxy. But now I understand. This child is more than a symbol. It is the future." Ariel smiled faintly. "And you are part of that future, Luke. You have proven yourself. Human ingenuity, courage, and compassion are strong. The galaxy will remember it." Luke looked at the glowing infant, feeling a bond that words could not describe. He knew the journey was far from over. There would be more dangers, more hunters, and more challenges. But for the first time, he felt hope and confidence. They were together, alive, and moving forward. As they sailed through the stars toward a distant planet, Luke realized that protecting the child was not just about survival. It was about guidance, care, and trust. They were shaping the future, one choice at a time, and teaching the child to grow strong, safe, and free. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of dangers, possibilities, and unknown worlds. But Luke, Ariel, and the child would face it together. The baby's light pulsed gently, steady and warm, a reminder of hope, courage, and the power of humanity to protect life beyond its world. Luke placed a hand on the controls, feeling determination fill him. "We will continue," he said softly. "We will protect the child, and we will survive. Whatever comes, we face it together." Ariel held the baby close, nodding. "Yes, together." The stars passed by, silent and bright. The galaxy waited, full of unknown threats and endless possibilities. But for now, Luke, Ariel, and the baby sailed forward, safe, strong, and ready for the future. The prophecy was still unfolding. But they had survived the greatest challenge. They had proven that courage, intelligence, and compassion could overcome even the most dangerous forces. And as long as they stayed together, they knew they could face whatever came next. The baby's glow filled the cabin, a small light in the vast darkness of space. Luke felt a deep sense of purpose, a bond with life itself. He had chosen to protect the child, and in doing so, he had changed not only his own life, but the future of countless beings in the galaxy. For the first time in a long while, Luke allowed himself to hope. They were alive. They were together. And the story of the alien girl's baby and the human who would protect it was just beginning. The galaxy was dangerous, full of uncertainty and darkness, but in the small ship, with the baby glowing softly, Luke felt a light of hope, a light that would guide them, protect them, and shine for all the worlds yet to come. And as they sailed into the unknown, Luke knew one thing for certain: they would survive, together.